Hello and welcome to my video review on the Perfect Grade MSZ006 Zeta Gundam. Now, of course, this thing is not completed yet, but I wanted to show off the inner frame on this model because it is definitely an impressive one. Now, coming in here, at the detail here, there are lots of pistons, and this is not out of the box. It's all, the inner frame is completely panel-lined, painted with silver and gold all over, and just detailed up. Just kind of going around here. Got the side panels here. The gloss doesn't really come through on camera, at least not on my end, but it is a lot of glossy silver here that really reflects the light, and I think it looks quite nice. Now, I will mention this is not a beginner-friendly build. Not as bad as I've heard people make it out. It's really... Oh, and then these guys, too, on both the shoulders. Forgot to flip those out. As a lot of people make it out, it's really a pretty straightforward kit. It just takes a long time, and there's some parts and screws that have to be sandwiched between parts, but nothing is really that hard or found difficult to build. It was very straightforward. It just took a long time. Now, for articulation and all that stuff, I'm not really going to get into any of that. I'm just kind of going to show off more of the detail aspects of it and all the moving joints that you can't see once the armor is covered up. So we'll start with the bottom here on these feet, which are really cool because you have the toe that can move up, which extends the pistons. And then you can obviously bring them back in, too. That contracts the pistons. I'm not 100% sure if these are going to get covered up. I would think they wouldn't. They would stay pretty open. Now, these are all painted gold here. I used Tamiya spray gold just out of the can, and it turned out pretty good. So these would be like a dark gray coming out of it. So that's also painted as well. And then the heel has got nothing really to it. But the actual upper leg is actually kind of mental. So as you move forward, the front pistons retract, and then there's two back pistons that expand that are facing the opposite way. Then as you move them like this, you can see some of them get shorter, some get longer, which is super cool. And then of course we got the boing, 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 because the feet on the inside have a really nice solid spring. No real wibble to it, and it's just super nice. And also inside here we have some beautiful venting detail that can be opened, and they are all open together very nicely, I might add. And then there's even more venting inside the vents, which is super, super cool. Come along to the other side, you got a lot more vent areas. This one's all the pipes and circuitry, cooling pipes and hydraulic fluids or whatever else would go down to the legs. And then we also have some vents on the other sides here, kind of more for Wave Rider detail, probably like an intake on the top things for the jet back here, which, speaking of the jet, looks really nice. The red in here is painted, so this thruster just comes gray, and I dry brush the ends of it. Now, the actual thruster bay / compartment, that is like super, super detailed. I find that really cool just because my fascination with jets. I just love this. It's not picking up super well on camera. Let's see if I can zoom in here. Get all the way in there. Here we go. But yeah, it's quite detailed. And then you got the pipes going along, maybe some coolants, the fuel. So just super, super detailed model. Then you have the pipes coming up back here, and these little back pieces are spring-loaded. That way it allows for more articulation, which is nice. I got some more venting details, and there's a screw right there. And then coming to the front, we have some more pipes, or not pipes, but pistons. And then as you bend it here, you can see it pulls that forward. Once you go far enough, it pulls the entire thing down. And then also right here, as you're moving too, it pulls on that one, and then that all rotates together. And as we are bringing this back up, of course, they all collapse, and then this is spring-loaded, and it should come back up, but sometimes you just got to give it a little bit of a nudge to get it to go back up. Now, I did make one flaw here, and I was pretty clumsy, and I bent the leg forward, and I bent it just a bit too far, and the pipe that's in here is not original. This is from the sprue, and it looks a little kind of screwed up, but I had to drill a hole through this pipe to get it, and then drill a bigger hole in the poly cap to get that pipe to fit correctly. I'll try and clean it up a little bit more yet because it's a little messy looking. But yeah, that was my only mistake, and that was 100% user error. That just should not have happened, and was just a really dumb thing. But I was able to get that piston working again. Now coming up here, we have the most questionable piston. It's for the armor that goes over the front, but it's just really funny. And hey, look, there's a pilot that I have orientated the wrong way. He's got a little spinning seat, and then you got the cockpit here. But when he is spun to his normal configuration for standing straight up, he is harder to see. But now coming in at the arms here, all I did here was just dry brush the fingers and then did a top coat to lock in the paint because these would be moving around a lot. In each one of these too, this is what I love about these older Perfect grades compared to the new ones. The inner frame, or not the inner frame, but the fingers are all on those moving MS real grade like joints, but they're not all together. So you have to snip out each one of the fingers individually, which means all these ball joints connected to the fingers are rock solid and are not coming out, which is super nice because on my PG Strike, the fingers would just fall out like no tomorrow, and I hate those hands. And actually having one that's rock solid makes me absolutely adore these. Now they have just ball joints here, and then just two joints there, and then at the thumb, you got a ball joint there, a ball joint here, and then another hinge at the tip. And there are the hands, look absolutely gorgeous. And then the back of it, I don't have the armor on yet, so it's not going to look great. Coming around to the side here, we got some more circuitry, pipe detail. You got the screw there. Get a better hold on this guy. You can just kind of look at the detail on the side of the arm that would go missed if you never took the time to paint it, because there's a lot. And underneath here, there's like a top part that I painted that got covered by this top panel, but there's some more painted detail underneath this as well. And speaking of the front shoulder panel, it's probably one of my favorite parts. It is gorgeous, and it's just bundled and joyfully, sporadically detailed, and it's just, oh, it's great. And I thought I did a decent job painting and making it look quite nice. And then we got like a little vent here for the top, and this just slides out. We got the pipe circuitry going around, and just a really cool vent that kind of looks like the hot air is coming out the shoulders. Looks pretty cool. And of course, on the other side of the arm, we got the same exact detail. Nothing really changes. But on the back here, for the actual part of the arm, we have some more pistons here. These are the only non-functioning pistons on the kit. These do not work. These are just fakes that are in there. But there are real ones on the front of the arms. And yeah, I just realized now, I don't know how I didn't realize this before, but these arms are rotated the incorrect way. That's interesting. So yeah, these are the fronts of the arms, my bad. I transformed the kit earlier, so that was what that was about. But yeah, now coming on here too, we have these front pistons here that can move in and out, and you kind of see how they kind of contract and go with the bottom wrist. Now I might add too, these are from the same runner as the fingers, so these are pre-assembled, so you don't have to do anything with these pistons, and they look really nice. And that's actually not a bad thing. And for a 25-year-old kid, I did not realize that technology existed at this time. But looking at the elbow bend here, you can see how it comes out. It's a double piston and then slowly slides out. And you can just go right back into, and might I add, it is so smooth. This pretty much this entire kit is all polycapped. Now this one doesn't really move up top here, but the actual piston resides nicely into a little groove on the bottom side here, and it just looks so freaking cool. But as I was saying, pretty much everything is polycapped. All of the armor that goes on is polycapped, so it comes off and on really easily. All the leg joints are all polycapped. But might I add, they are huge polycaps, and the polycaps are like this freaking long in the legs for these joints here. They're super long, so they have a lot of friction, and they are not loose. I mean, granted, it did just move, but like I'm shaking it a fair amount, and it's staying pretty solid, and it feels like butter. So I, for one, adore polycaps. I wish more models would have them. I'm not a huge fan of plastic on plastic because it just wears down. It may be slightly stronger at first, but again, it will just wear out. Coming to the head here, the LED light is on. Now I might add, I did have a little bit of an issue with the LEDs. They prong for connecting to the back of the battery. It was kind of bent back a lot, and the battery wasn't quite touching it well, and it was flickering. If you ever have issues with the lights flickering or stuff not being right, just bend the wire forward so it has better contact with the battery, and that should help it out a bit. Also on the head here, we got some more piston details, and this part right here can move out for the opening armor gimmick on the head. Now also, there's a screw up here that has to be removed to get to the battery compartment. So if you want to undo that, just keep in mind that is a screw and will probably eventually start to wear out. So be careful not to strip that, is pretty much what I'm saying. And in the back here, we just have this and then that little switch. Bring it up and the LEDs turn off. And the LEDs work really well on this kit if they're constructed right. But yeah, more detail on the side. The back of the head and the top, I really didn't do too much on. There's like a little bit of detail kinda, but there's really not too much there. At the chest here, you got a lot of circuitry and different panels, and then a piston right there. So yeah, and then the chest vents I also painted silver. Now coming around to the back here, this is kind of where there's no real inner frame, is on this back panel. This is required to have everything together, so not a complete inner frame, but the inner frame that is there is completely just outstanding, and it's just utterly amazing. Now, I will mention you can transform this without just the inner frame. I'm not going to do that on camera because that would not be fun, but I will transform it off camera and then have it kind of in Wave Rider to show you. And now taking a look at it in Wave Rider mode, this is all the inner frame really gets you. You kind of got the base there. It transforms for the most part. I will show the transformation and record it and have it on my video once this kit is completed, but there's just a lot of stuff missing, and it's kind of jank when nothing really tabs in right. So I'm not going to show this off, but everything else, the transformation, I will show off in my next video when I have it complete, which I do not know when that's coming out. I couldn't, it's going to be a bit because there's still a lot to go. This is about a month in right now, and I probably put in at least 2 or 3 hours every day into this thing, so I've put a lot of effort into this, and it's definitely paying off because this is absolutely gorgeous. Now, one thing I may add here is these stupid thrusters. That's the only part I have a problem with. They like to pop off. They're just on a polycap. That could easily be glued in, so that's not much of an issue at all. I probably will end up doing that, but I'll just keep them the way they are for now because they're super easy to pop back on. But yeah, that's really all there is for the Wave Rider. Also, one thing I want to mention here, nothing really tabs in quite yet. There's a lot of pieces missing, so nothing's really in correctly and tabbed together, so it's kind of jank, but it can kind of do it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my build so far. I'm not finished with it, but I would highly recommend this kit because this is the only Zeta so far that I transformed somewhat here, and totally felt comfortable doing it. The Verka I've also messed with too, and the 2.0, but those, they just don't feel as solid and just kind of a little scary to transform, because every time I've transformed my 2.0, almost every time, a clip or something snaps on it, and it's like, oh, it's just like not quite solid enough to be just perfect. But this one definitely puts the perfect and perfect grade, and I wish more perfect grades were like this. I kind of did not like the change that perfect grades took from like the GPO 1 to the Strike. I kind of like the older BGs more. I really adore this kit, and I would highly recommend picking it up. Anyways, it's been it for my review, and peace out.